Hello, I'm doing a book review, and the book I want to review is Superman the Black Ring Volume 1. Now, this collects issues 890 through 895 of Action Comics, and these issues were published between 2010 and 2011, and the issues collected in here were written by Paul Cornell, who I believe also wrote a lot of stuff for Doctor Who, and illustrated by Pete Woods, and obviously published by DC Comics. And this is a Superman story arc. The character of Superman was originally created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. Now, this is Volume 1 that I'm reviewing. I'm currently reading Volume 2, and that's gonna be my next book review. Now, what's interesting is Superman doesn't even show up in Volume 1 of this story arc. He's obviously mentioned, but this is all told from Lex Luthor's point of view. Lex Luthor is, for all intents and purposes, the hero of this particular story arc. In that sense, it's very similar to the Brian Azzarello graphic novel, Lex Luthor Man of Steel, but where that came at it from a much more serious perspective, this is told from a more humorous perspective. Now, I've said many times before that whenever I read a Superman comic, or a Batman comic, or any comic published by DC, I tend to just read it as a standalone story because I'm not a big follower of the mainstream DC continuity, but continuity-wise, this story arc is actually set after the Blackest Night story arc, and I believe this was also the penultimate Superman story arc before the New 52 reboot. Now, the plot of Volume 1 of The Black Ring is it follows Lex Luthor, who previously had possession of an Orange Lantern ring, and he wants that power back, but what he really wants are all of the Black Lantern rings, which if he collects all of them, he'll gain ultimate power. Basically, he'll become a god. So, what the story is about Lex Luthor and this team of mercenaries working for him, going on this quest for all of the Black Rings, and he either teams up with or goes up against different supervillains in the story. But this was a really fun read. It's definitely played up for humor, and it's definitely very tongue-in-cheek, but it is actually a pretty interesting story, and even though it's all told from Lex Luthor's perspective, he's still a piece of shit in this story. Especially in the beginning, where he fires one of his employees for going against him, and not only does he fire this guy, but he tells his assistant to make sure there are rumors spread about him so he can never get another job. And then this employee attacks him, and then he has this guy murdered for attacking him because, again, his ego is that out of control. Now, in the story, Lex Luthor has a girlfriend, and it's Lois Lane, but it's not really Lois Lane. It's actually an android made to look like Lois Lane, but he's also fucking this thing. Now, the main thing I wanted to talk about, and this is actually the main reason I wanted to read this comic, is there's an appearance in here from one of my favorite characters, Death of the Endless, who's a character originally created by Neil Gaiman, who first appeared in Neil Gaiman's horror/dark fantasy comic book series, The Sandman, which is one of my favorite series, and she's honestly one of my favorite characters from that series. Now, for those of you who haven't read the Sandman series, according to that series, Death is the member of a group of celestial entities known as the Endless, who are either older than the universe itself, or they're as old as the first life in the universe. But they've existed for billions of years and have probably taken on many different forms throughout their long existence. And at least next to God, the Devil, and the angels, they're the oldest and most powerful beings in the universe. And basically what she is she's the literal embodiment of death. Whenever a being in the universe dies, it's her job to take that being to its rightful place in the afterlife. And there's a certain point in this comic where it appears that Lex Luthor dies. Now, this turns out to be a fake-out, but he does end up meeting death. And I like how she never judges Lex Luthor despite him being an evil bastard, because she's kind of above morality. She's death. She comes for everybody, good or evil. But yeah, that was my review on Superman the Black Ring Volume 1 by Paul Cornell. It's an entertaining read, and I definitely recommend it, and bye.